Hey everyone, welcome to Syndicate Item Review. Been a while, but we're doing another one. This episode, we are talking about everything in the weaponry category, and you have a lot of pretty powerful options here. You got Bulldogs, you got the C20, the classic China Lake, and a couple of other useful options. But as always, we're going to start with the cheapest things first before moving on to, the more powerful and more expensive options. Now, the surplus, the the mo- I mean, it's a Mosin. Like it does 19 damage a shot, but it fires so absurdly slow and just generally comes with no ammo that you're not killing anyone with this thing, are we? Now, that's not to say that it's valueless. After all, giving out a bunch of surplus rifles can easily give security a lot of crap to deal with because they, have to deal with titers and people just existing and all that crap. Yeah, there's a fair bit you could do with the surplus rifle Mosin, but all in all, you're not getting actual kills with this thing. It's better as a beam weapon than as an actually usable weapon, but it's not without its merits, and I'm going to put it in the D tier. In D tier, there we go. As for weapons that are actually kind of good, the E-Dagger comes in its own box, which just open it immediately, and it's disguised as a pen, and you can of course put this in any PDA. Anywhere a pen can go, this thing can go. But when you press Z, E-Blade. Now, the damage this thing does is hidden because of metagaming, but it does 20 damage a swing, and I believe that is an equal mix of heat and brute. And I can actually confirm that for you real quick. And yeah, equal parts slash, equal parts heat. And this makes it actually a rather effective weapon. Like, let's say you murder someone in maintenance, like, one of these Urists here, and then, oh, no, seconds approaching, quick. I need to make it look like I'm not a city and just foul this guy. Just put it anywhere. They're not going to think anything of a pen, and if they do, that's metagaming. But yeah, the pen itself is overall a rather strong option for something so cheap. This already does more than just about every normally available bladed weapon. This does more than, say, a toolbox. This does more than a crowbar. It doesn't do more than actual weapons like, say, spears, which will do more melee damage when wielded, or the captain's sword, or just an Atmos axe. But what it does do is pretty sneaky, and I'm going to put it in the B tier because it's just very basic for a good price. Viper. I love this little gun. Make sure you bolt it. The Viper's existence is, well, shooting really goddamn quickly. The Viper should not be used as a combat gun. It's not what it's intended for. It's a small, easily concealable, and somewhat underpowered gun, exactly as it says. What I do with the Viper is I wait, stalk my target, wait for them to be in a situation where I can kill them, and then proceed to grab it, close the bolt, shoot at any, shoot at any, shoot at any, and then grab the gun and then go out like any airlock. This is especially easy if the guy you're fighting has, no meds or whatever, and access to the outside, and they're just gone. The Viper shoots so unbelievably fast that it's rather difficult. For someone that's being shot by the Viper to respond in time before they're already crit. Again, 100 piercing damage is nothing to scoff at with half the mag. And for that, I have to put the Viper at A tier. For 3 TC, it's a very effective disposable gun that does what it says on the tin and nothing more. As for the Cobra, I have issues with the Cobra. See, the silenced nature of it means that it is technically quieter, but the sound of hitting someone with it is the exact same volume. So anyone will just hear the, noise of a bullet entering a person, and immediately proceed to just show up and say, oh, silence pistol. So the silence part of it isn't that useful. Personally, what I use it for is pretty much the exact same as the Viper. I grab it, because it does shoot about as fast as the Viper, if not slightly faster, and then immediately proceed to yeet it into the other world. The Cobra comes in handy whenever you're dealing with someone that's lightly armored, such as a security officer, but it's unlikely to work on someone with better armor, such as like the head of security, any blue shield operatives, if you're on a server with the blue shield operative enabled, or the captain themselves. For that, you're going to need something slightly bigger. Overall, though, I will put it in B tier, since it effectively just has the same use as the Viper, while costing 1 extra TC. The silencer part of it just isn't that helpful. Oh, an additional note, Viper ammo is 35 auto, while Cobra ammo is 25 caseless. It is next to impossible to find 25 caseless, whereas a security officer carries another pistol of 35 auto on them at all times. This makes it a fair bit more difficult to find new ammo for the Cobra, whereas the Viper, if you somehow take out a security officer, you can easily just reload and keep shooting out targets. Let's get on to something that's a little bit friggin' weird. So, this is a strange thing. This is an electrical toolbox on first glance. It even comes with the stuff inside of it. But when you hit it with a literally anything, and I have to antagonist control myself to turn me into a traitor. Otherwise, this thing will shoot me. For example, you bash it with literally anything, and it will immediately start opening fire with about average damage. It'll take out a target in about 6 shots, and it does fire 35 auto. So it's not the most powerful toolbox. However, what it does have is a fair bit more ammo than any other weapon, and also the ability to be repaired or just act as a blockade. For example, if I beat the ever-loving shit out of it with a toolbox, I can then, as the indicator says, take out a wrench and fix the damn thing. Which you're unlikely to ever have to actually repair the ballistic turret, since the ballistic turret is kind of just a, well, it's a chaos tool. It's a chaos tool the same way several explosives in the uplink are just designed for absolute goddamn chaos. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And as for that, I'm going to have to give the turret a, it's actually a hard one. That's a really difficult one, actually. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to have to give the toolbox turret a C tier. It's an effective tool of chaos, area denial, or just a throw down in a security officer's way, but it's very, very vulnerable. Like, this thing has been fully repaired. If I take my AKMS, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 shots and it's exploded. Which, helpful because it does explode and take out pretty much anyone next to it. But the problem is, the problem is, it just takes a long time to get a kill, and it's not too effective as a tool of chaos anyways. I don't recommend using this unless you intentionally want to cause absolute havoc. As for actual objectives, not that helpful. Another thing that these just suck. The throwing knives are just straight up terrible. You take them out, and they do 25 damage, sub/slash, sub-pierce, and 5 units of slash damage whenever you stab with them. They do stab incredibly fast, so you can use this as an actual weapon in combat, but obviously the appeal of it are to throw at people. The knives travel directly straight with no arcing or spinning, effectively the same way a thrown spear travels. Problem. This trajectory is fucking slow. Incredibly slow. Like, this, for reference, if I'm trying to fight someone that's moving, and they move even slightly from where I throw it, that will not hit them. These do have some merits. Like, for example, if I collect... Like, for example, I can recollect the knives after I've taken down a target, if I've taken down a target, which 3 knives will probably do the job with the additional bleed damage that it does. So you're not really required to hit all your knives, but it does have merit with the... where is it? The improvised pneumatic cannon. The improvised pneumatic cannon, for those unaware, is a thing you can just make with the construction menu. Right here, it requires just some really basic, easy to obtain things. You can make, makeshift cups out of wire. So all you really need is just a bunch of fucking steel and a wrench, I suppose. As well as to load it, you require an oxygen tank. I believe only the big ones work. Never mind. All right, you can use a small one as well. And if you load up knives into it, you can load up 2. You can then shoot them at a much, much higher trajectory, but with a fair bit of a slowdown between shots. Let me load in an actual oxygen tank here. The shoot between the shots is good, but you're going to have to reload mid-battle, and you also need to carry around a pneumatic cannon, and yeah. There's some merits to the knives, but, I mean, really, let's be completely and utterly honest here. The fact that these cost the same as a ballistic turret that does a fuck ton of chaos, it just will 100% distract from whatever the hell you're doing, while costing or more than actual useful guns like the Cobra and Viper. It's a D tier weapon. I'm sorry. I just very rarely have ever found a use out of these ever, and they're just not that effective in most situations. As for something that is just as effective as the 10, the energy sword. 15 hit, 15 slash, no bleed because cauterization. 3 swings of this, target's nearly dead. A 4th swing of this, they're down. The E-Sword is a classic for a reason. It also does a bunch of structural damage, so you can easily cut through, say, a wall with enough effort, tables, machines, doors, glass especially. There's a fair bit the E-Sword can take care of on its own, and I consider it a bit of a Swiss Army knife of the weapons, if I'm honest with myself. It's not very good at doing any specific thing. It's not the greatest hand-to-hand combat weapon. It's not the greatest weapon for getting through, like, walls or whatever. It's not the greatest weapon for stealth, but it is applicable to pretty much all of these situations despite the loudness, because this thing can just fit in your pocket. It's rather easy to hide. And I mean, it's the E-Sword. It's gotta be A tier. And I'm going to keep this unignited for now because otherwise it is rather loud and will disturb the audio of the glorious Python. The Python, I mean, it's 26 damage revolver, it's got 6 shots. This is what you want to run if you have to take out someone that's actually armored. The 45 Magnum rounds it comes with are, as it says on the tin, armor piercing. This means that they will do about the same damage to... Let me spawn in an example here. Spawn in a captain real quick. Where is captain? Let's just spawn in a captain here. This is a captain. They have the carapace on. 4 shots, they're dead. Their armor did nothing for them. The Python is what you want to run if you have to take out a very hidden or heavily armored target, such as the Captain, the Blue Shield, or the Hoss, like I was saying earlier for the smaller guns that could not take care of this job. Costs more than that, but honestly, the Python is just brutally simple, and it's a brutally simple gun that gets placed at A tier. Especially because this thing uses 45 Magnum, and some people run 45 Magnum, and it's not impossible to find more of it. Unlike several other guns, which are rather difficult to find more of. For a weapon that really just realistically only has one purpose, the gloves of the Northstar delay units of blunt, but they punch really, really, really fast. Yeah, 8 damage a second blunt. You can imagine what happens if you punch the same person repeatedly over and over again. It still takes a while. Yeah, they give. And this is effective on people that are unarmored, people that are armored. Not as effective on people that are armored. Like, for example, here, if we take a look at this captain's armor, the captain has... the captain has a fair bit of blunt damage resistance, but the Glows of Northstar also does have a secondary effect. You can scream anything you want as a battle cry whenever you punch something. Which is just straight up funny. There's no way around it. It's funny. Overall, though, the Glows of the Northstar just aren't that effective. I'd only recommend using these if you need to take out a bunch of unarmored targets or someone who's also unarmored. As armor targets, they're still effective, but they're not as effective as just straight up just, the goddamn E-sword. Or, the Python. It's very useful for open brawls, though. There's not much someone could do to do in a very crowded space, like an evacuation shuttle, a bar, or any other place where people are crammed in, when you're just constantly wide swing punching all around you at your target. Very difficult for Sec to take down. Just, you will not win versus a stun baton, so this can't be the stun meta. The Ristov is... I wish this gun was good. It's just not. The Ristov, for reference, shoots and does 40 damage per shot. Which you might say, okay, but armor. No, that is a armor-piercing bullet. Anti-material rifle does armor to other things. Problem is, its shooting speed sucks, and yeah, that's about it. Shooting speed sucks. Important thing, though, this is the only gun to come with its own ammo. So you get more shots per Ristov than you would any other gun. You have 15 shots total. But, in all honesty, there's no real reason to run the Ristov. Like, the Ristov is just bad. It's just flat out not that helpful. And it's slow shooting speed and the fact that you have to reload, along with its janky, yes, janky, cost, it's not that great. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to be completely honest here. The Ristov might be my least favorite gun. I have never seen a single person run the Ristov unless they got it in say, a surplus crate or in a just random drop, or they just found one on the ground. The Ristov is just not good. It's less effective than the Python and it costs more, despite the fact that it does have more bullets. It's weird. I don't know what to review this thing. But to be honest, the loud sound, wait, is that slower bullet travel speed? What the fuck? Hold on. Hold on. Is that a slower bullet travel speed? No, it is not. Okay. Hard weapon to review, honestly. Because again, 40 damage per shot. But, you're also not able to get more ammo than what you get with it. Yeah, no. I'm just gonna have to put this in C tier. but I will be doing one thing. I'm actually going to move these two down to F tier because these are essentially useless, and putting the Ristov in D tier. Because these guns are, well, literally useless. Whereas the throwing knife whereas the Ristov is actually usable in any situation. There's no situation that calls for the Mosin, no matter its cost, and the throwing knives are just flat out terrible. Okay, it's time for talk about, the beauty of the simple C20. C20 shoots incredibly flat and fast with 16 damage a shot. And it comes with 2 additional bags for 16 TC. And these bullets will take you to whatever you need to do. A shootout with security, you automatically win. A shootout with a fully armed Hoss or Sekov, you will win. This beats stun batons and it beats disablers, which is something other weapons struggle to do due to their slower firing speed and the fact that the stun baton and disabler are just kind of overpowered, let's be real. But yeah, no. This gun, god damn it. Fuck. Hanging up on ILP. Wait, no, I didn't think this through. No, my reviewing system. Oh, man. That's fucking annoying. Okay, Jesus Christ, that was long. Okay. Despite the C20 literally blowing up my entire goddamn testing area, it's still by far the simplest gun, which does a simple job simply. And this is the gun you want if you want to go on a killing spree, or if you need to take out a high-value target and you don't feel like doing anything sneaky or subterfuge, and you just want to kill. This is the gun you run. The C20 is S tier. Unquestioningly. Okay, let's talk about the Bulldog, because the Bulldog is, well, a automatic shotgun. Let me spawn in a target. Bulldog with 1 pellet, if I could display that, will do 10 damage, and that is 6 pellets, which effectively totals, well, so that's 155, and now it is at 220, what? Okay, but yeah, it does 60 damage per shot. Per shot if you light all your shells. Additionally, this thing shoots fast. Very, very fast. The Bulldog is absolutely the gun you want if you have Die Glorious Death and you don't feel like sabotaging anything, you just feel like shooting as many Sekovs as possible. The gun is useful at pretty much any range. And it's overall not terrible. Problem. It is not worth 20 whole TC. It's not. It's not worth it. 20 TC is literally all your TC. This provides you with no breathing room. The C20 gives you access to, say, a piece of C4, a white hole grenade to cause mayhem. You could also get a web vest, which is very, very good armor, by the way. Seriously, look at this shit. 70% fucking piercing resistance. My god. You could also get straight up just a hypo dart or an elite smokes pack, which contains omnizine to heal yourself. You could get like an agent ID card or a decoy nuke disc if that's your prerogative, or an encryption key to communicate with the rest of the Cindies. You could get Jaws of Life, for fuck's sake, a radio jammer, so that people can't call for help as you're going on your rampage. The C20 leaves you open for a fair bit more interesting things you could do. The Bulldog does not. Yeah, the Bulldog, for what it's worth, is a cool attempt at a gun designed for mass murder, but all in all, despite its insane killing capacity, there's just no reason to run this thing over the C20R. The C20R is just better, and that 3 extra TC is a lot more than you think. I never run this thing, and every time I've tried to run this thing, it let me down. It does also come with additional beanbag drum, but like fucking who the hell is using beanbag slugs on a fucking like, let's be real. Who the hell is gonna actually fucking use these beanbag slugs for anything? Like, I mean, come on, like fucking like, oh wow, single shot that does stunning damage. Like, let's not kid ourselves here. No one's using this for the beanbag shells. Yeah, no, it's an unfortunate weapon, but it's got to go in D tier. There's just not much it does better than anything else, and it does things a whole lot worse than the C20R. We're going to review the China Lake last for obvious reasons. They're probably confused as to why I'm going to talk about the L6, but the L6 is technically obtainable from, Cindy surpluses or getting TC from another Cindy, so it's technically possible to obtain. And well, the L6 saw is, well, the L6 saw. It does 19 damage a shot, and you have literally 100 rounds to work with. And it shoots very fast. Oh boy. Yeah, it's not a stretch of the imagination to say that if you're armed with an L6 saw, security is going to need to use every option in their kit to deal with you. The L6 saw, if you manage to obtain one, you are basically an unstoppable monster unless you play your cards wrong. Again, you want to use cover. If you are having a security, like a fight to have security with is around this corner. Do not rush security. They will just stun you. Stun meta. Ugh. But yeah, overall, the L6 saw is so good that it gives you another 100 rounds to work with. You have enough damage in this thing to literally kill the entire station. Plus, it uses 35 auto, or 30 rifle. Sorry, 30 rifle. You can refill this at the SecFab if you kill the Hoss. You are a one-man goddamn army with the L6, even with just the most basic bare-bones armor, which, let me tell you, it's not going to be a question of if you can obtain the armor off of, like, the captain, a security officer, the Hoss. It's a question of when with the L6 saw. And oh, baby, does it deserve its S-tier status. Talk about the China Lake. I need a suit, and I also need the oxygen tank from this, well, cannon. Because the China Lake is, I mean, it's a fucking China Lake. Like, are we gonna say that there's any, like, are we gonna say there's any situation that can't be solved by a China Lake? Do I even have to review the China Lake here? I feel like it's self-explanatory. It's a fucking China Lake. Anyway, talking about the differences between the two grenades. I don't actually know, so we're going to find out together. This is the blast grenade. The blast grenade does, well, more damage to walls if I will toggle my lighting just so we can see everything. Apologies for flashbang. This will blast through walls. It does enough damage to take pretty much any solid wall down to a girder. Whereas the frag grenade has a much larger explosion with less damage, but an unarmored target will die to this. And just so we're clear, I have an atmospheric technician's suit on, which gives me a lot of heat resistance. That heat and explosion resistance, guaranteed, is what kept me alive here. And this also comes with enough grenades to absolutely kill everything. But, and yes, there's a but, the China Lake does have some drawbacks. One is stations are rather closed in, and this is a dev environment. The dev environment is closed in. There's no fire locks to initiate testing easier because this is not meant to be played on. Also, gravity's out. That's brilliant. The China Lake is almost a little too destructive because you're going to be fighting a lot of enclosed spaces and people are going to be running directly at you. The China Lake, for all it's worth, is just not as good for fights than the C-20. It won't take out a security officer in one shot most of the time, so I just gotta give it a B tier. It's only really good for killing a lot of unarmored targets, and you only really need one shell for that because the spacing will kill them anyway. Plus, with firelocks closing constantly, it's again not an if, but a when. Of when this sabotages you, comes back, and absolutely makes you look like a complete fool. Anyways, that is it for this episode of Syndicate Item Review. Here are the final reviews. We have in S tier the CH-20, thanks to its immense destructive power, and the fact that it's basically just what you want if you need to fight a bunch of security officers. The L6 for pretty much the same reason, but with a higher price tag and even more deathly power. This is an incredibly strong weapon that absolutely earns its S tier status. In A tier, we have the Viper, thanks for its easily concealable and good enough status of just able to take out people that are unarmored and then being able to be thrown away. Its cheap cost really carried it all the way to A tier. The tried and true electronic sword, or energy sword, not electronic, is in A tier thanks to its very strong and very useful ability to deal mixed damage, structural damage, and acting almost as a Swiss Army knife for any problem you have. We have also at A tier the Python for basically just being a better Viper that can pierce armored targets. This is what you want to run if you want to take out an armored target such as the Captain, the BSO, or the Hoss, or you just want something that you can fall back on if you get caught out. The B tier weapons include the electronic pen, thanks to its stealthy nature and, well, the fact that it'll just kill any unarmored target and you can hide it quite easily. It's not going to get shown up in searches unless you get caught using it. And even then, it's still good enough to take out an armored target, and decently good enough on its own against an armored one if you get the jump on them and have another thing to work with it. The Cobra, is basically just a Viper, but with a silencer that does effectively nothing, that deals slightly more damage and costs a whole one more TC. And it's just not as good as the Viper and kind of pointless. The China Lake, despite its intensive destructive power, gets stuck in B tier because of its just rigidity. There's a lot of situations that do not call for a China Lake, and you'll also find yourself being stuck with the China Lake and no other weapon to fall back on as someone's way too close to you and they blow up and you do. And remember, your death with a China Lake means your round is over. You're not getting out of perma at all. Also, this is Syndicate item review, not Nuki item review. This is for Syndicate agents, not Nukies. The disposable turrets, which, let me fucking just... There we go. The disposable The disposable turret, thanks to its, well, good enough, I guess, destructive power, is stuck in C tier alongside alongside some of the less useful items. Pretty much because while it is chaotic and very helpful, it's hard countered by its terrible ammo counts, and the fact that to avoid it, you just need to, well, walk away from it. Such a hard counter. It also is way too vulnerable to damage. The Fists of the Northstar are here in C tier because they're just not that useful. They're good for giving people, but if someone's already dead, you can just give them with, like, a toolbox. It'll take slightly longer, but whatever. This is an item that you use because they're cool and quirky, not because they're effective. In D tier, we have the Ristov. The Ristov is here because of its high cost, inflexibility, and the fact that it just takes too long to fire. And while it is able to pierce armored targets, it's just not good enough at what it does, and other guns do its job far more effectively. Honestly, I think I'm good to move it to C tier, but I do think it belongs in D tier, just because of its just 12 TC cost. If it was like a 10 TC item, I think I'd accept it, but as it stands now. The Bulldog is here because it costs your entire TC budget if you're a Cindy, without doing anything of more effective than the CH20. It's just a downgraded C20 that does less damage, has less effective damage, requires close range to be effective in most situations, and overall, there's no reason to run this thing instead of the C20. The Mosin Ristov surplus rifle is an F tier because, like, let's be honest, you're never using this 1 TC item unless you're doing something stupid or spawning 20 of them to fuck with people. And the throwing knives kit is here because using this thing is just straight up fucking stupid. I have seen 0 agents do anything effective with this thing, and I don't think I'll start now. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the weapons of the Syndicate. I've used each of these a fair bit, just occasionally, just trying to get like a couple things going, trying to figure out the vibes of them. But I will admit I have used some more than others. Like the L6, I have a little less experience with. The Ristov, I have a fair bit more experience with, because I have been running the Ristov specifically to try and see a situation where the Ristov is applicable. The gun is unwieldy, and I just don't like it. Anyway, this was sponsored by Flabbergaster, Quack, Some Kitty Cat, Loltart, Northstar, Watch3, Web Sworder, Flippin' Tebow, Umbrella Obvious, and Sather Lappin. Join the channel down below. It's good. We do stuff sometimes, occasionally. You get to force me to add something to P Station, which, I'll be honest, I'm still trying to. I have a lot of I'm doing a lot right now, so I don't know when that's returning, but I will try to make sure it returns at some point. But yeah, that's it for the Syndicate item review. Have a very wonderful day. Bye now.